Well, friends of Mundo Maldini, let's analyze what has been this comfortable victory of Barca in Mallorca, May 1st. A Barca that played a brilliant match, especially in parts of the second half. It's a little later. The match ended a while ago. I watched the recorded match, but I have a great excuse to upload the video a little later. I just came from doing a long, fabulous, magnificent podcast with Jordi Wild. I'm sure you know him, a phenomenon with Jordi Wild. I'm in Barcelona. We just did the podcast a little while ago. Here are some photos from the show that will be released on his channels tomorrow. With Jordi Wilder, we talked about football, a lot of things, of course, about the champions, the main European teams, Madrid, Barca, a lot of surprises, a couple of tier lists we made that I'm sure you will like. And I had to watch the Barca match on delay, but I say the excuse is magnificent. The reason is magnificent, and you are going to love that program with Jordi Wild. Pure football, Jordi is a phenomenon, you probably know him. Let's carry out what has been, since I have already been able to see the complete match, of course, right after finishing at Podcast with Jordi Wild. We are going to analyze what this Mallorca versus Barca 5 has been, with a lot to comment on. Come on, let's go. Well, you already know, friends of the Maldini world, that we sponsor the city of Ceuta. And in these videos, we are going to see a lot of things. I'm on Real Street. This is where there are many shops. There is a lot of life in the city, a wonderful city that you have to visit with this square, for example, which is magnificent. So, visit Ceuta because it is worth it. It is a city that captivates you. It is spectacular. Let's talk about the match. Well, let's go. Friends of the Maldini world, Mallorca 1, Barca 5. They are looking at me here. How are you? How are we? I don't know if they are Maldini world fans or not. Maybe they are. I'll ask some colleagues here at the hotel who are close to me. Well, let's see. It is very obvious that the return of Lamine Yamal improves Barca from the start. Lamine Yamal had a sensational match, especially in the second half. Lamine Yamal has made a difference in many aspects of the game. In a Barca that came out, I'll comment a bit more on Lamine Yamal, a Barca that came out without Robert Lewandowski. There were no major changes in the lineup because logically the return of Lamine Yamal was expected, as well as the return of Adan and Olmo, two absolutely fundamental players. And of course, it was obvious that Cazador would return to the midfield. Cazador has become a key player for Barca right now. And Frankie came on and scored a goal, but Cazador is currently an absolutely key player. Mallorca has been able to do little. The only not so positive news for Barca in this match is that they have been caught again with the high defense. Mallorca's goal once again was a play in which Barca continues to take risks. This has been discussed a lot in the podcast with Jordi White. You will see it tomorrow. They continue to take a lot of risks and have been hurt again, and the teams are studying this much better. But it is evident that Barca played a very complete match, except for some struggles at the end of the first half after Mallorca's equalizing goal, and Barca had some moments of a bit more difficulty, but they played a very complete match. There you have the lineup of Barca and the lineup of Mallorca. For Barca, the most important thing, I insist, friends of Mundo Maldini's 2009, the most important for me is the return, of course, of my man on the right side as a starter, Dani Olmo behind Ferran, who has been the center forward. Raphinha, as always, on the left, but playing inside. And very importantly, tomorrow you will have a video from White Scouts. Of course, you will also have the ratings for the match. Very important. Very important for Barca is Valde's return at this level. Valde stretching the field on the left side causes a lot of damage. Also, of course, the lineup of a Mallorca that has honestly been quite impotent. There have been moments when they could have stopped it, few moments when they could have stopped it. Mojica to Lamine Yamal, who has become the man of the match. We'll start with Lamine Yamal. Then I will comment on some more details, but I will start with Lamine Yamal. An outstanding match from Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal causes a penalty that, for me, is clear. The penalty from February 1st. Lamine Yamal today has put on a display of outside passes. One of them, the goal by Raphinha, is a true marvel. The outside pass for Raphinha's goal. And another outside pass has led to one of Barca's goals. A Barca that played a very complete match with a lot of control. In the end, Barca has regained control today. I insist that for Micas, although Frenkie de Jong is a player who logically can be even more important for game control than the married one. Casado next to Pedri seems to me to be the perfect tandem for this Barca. And today it has been demonstrated, logically, Casado playing alongside Pedri. Recovering balls, managing very well in midfield, and Pedri sometimes shooting, logically, arriving with Usant, with Dani Olmo, who has also been fantastic. I mean, the pass, for example, from Dani Olmo. The pass to Lamine Yamal for the penalty play has also been good. Dani Olmo, what Dani Olmo really is. I was telling you the other day that thinking about what Flick has in mind, logically, who can play behind today has not been Lewandowski. It has been Ferran, who scored the first goal, of course. But who can play behind Robert Lewandowski? For me, the best man is Dani Olmo. Surely in a match where they dominate much more, in which Barca has moments where the opponent dominates them, Fermin's situation can be understood, but I believe that Dani Olmo's level is not surpassed by any means. Fermin with the ball, when it comes to turning and making interior passes, is logically far superior to what Fermin can offer. And there, Barca has also been a team that has caused a lot of damage to Mallorca. The only stretch that I have seen Barca suffer a little more was when Mallorca equalized until the end of the first half. It is true that Raphinha has a very clear chance, but until the end of the first half, Barca has suffered a little more. Then in the second half, it came quite early, on January 2nd, and from there, Barca has practically been the dominant, absolute owner of the match. Because in the first half, especially in many stretches of the first half, Barca had total control of the game, which is what they logically seek. Raphinha's role, playing inside, another very good match from Raphinha. It is true that he missed a goal he shouldn't have missed, which would have been on February 1st, at the end of the first half, the last play of the first half, but then he reappeared. And he has caused a lot of damage, scored a goal, has been present in almost all of Barca's attacking plays. And there he is, an unstoppable player once again, especially if Valde, as he did today, has come down the left wing. Didn't like Koundé's match as much. I don't think we are seeing the best Koundé, not at all. As always, Kubasin arrived pushing very high up the defense. And I wanted to mention another detail that I think is important to talk about Gavi. Today, Gavi played the final stretch, but he played much more freely. I believe that Gavi cannot play in the position of a central midfielder. The last match that Barca played poorly against Unión Deportiva de Las Palmas, although they shot a lot, they didn't play well. I think Gavi played too far back as a positional central midfielder. I believe that Flick has solutions. To not place Gavi so far back if he is not central. Frank Kessie himself, who by the way scored a goal. And I have the feeling that Flick doesn't quite see him in good form. And I think Frenkie de Jong will play little. Honestly, I don't think Frenkie de Jong will play much if everyone is available. Pedri is back. Dani Olmo is back. And in this context of the match, this moment of the season, it is evident that Frenkie de Jong is a substitute, of course, because there is no way that he will stop being a starter. Ferran has been good. He has moved quite well, and he scored the first goal. Logically, Lewandowski will be the starter in the next match against Real Betis. And the feeling I have is that Lamine Yamal'S return, with everything he generates, sinks the rivals even more. And the return of Dani Olmo makes it so that Barca has come back. Barca is back, friends of Mundo Maldini, just as I titled the thumbnail. Barca returns, and we will see the next match against Real Betis. They have two difficult matches, Real Betis in Seville, and then I will be in Dortmund to comment on that match between Dortmund and Barca. Mallorca, by the way, has not had many options. A good stretch at the end of the first half and little more. Barca ended up breaking through very easily because up front they are a team with talent and speed in circulation. And especially Mallorca, when they pushed a little higher, the space crushed them, especially looking for Lamine Yamal. Great victory for Barca. Barca is back. Barca regains its spirit. With this victory, I believe that the bad results can end from now on. We'll see what happens in Seville. But the return of Lamine Yamal, the return of Dani Olmo, Balde once again pushing the field, Raphinha inside, Youss, and even without Lewandowski, the return of Casado, Barca once again instills fear and logically strengthens their lead. We'll see what happens tomorrow at San Mamés Athletic Club versus Real Madrid. You will have a video as soon as the match ends. And of course, you will also have a video of the ratings for this Mallorca versus Barca. Tomorrow when I get home, if I have time, which I hope I do, you will have a report and scout video, especially with some details of movements. I want to analyze a little bit about Lamine Yamal, about Dani Olmo, about Raphinha, about Casado, and also Gavi's entry, which I find very, very important. And by the way, to finish, Pau Victor, who is a player I liked a lot in preseason, scored again today and participated in another goal. A player who I believe can have quite a few minutes in the team and is a threat logically to Ferran. A hug. Bye, 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 bye.